Tonight on NewsWatch 12 at 6, federal funding cuts putting one local program your kids love at risk. How the outdoor school program could be impacted after a vote this afternoon. And as weather warms up, getting outside might be appealing to both you and wildlife, but you don't want to encounter it. What you can do to keep yourself safe.
Lots of sunshine, warm temperatures today, and it's going to stay fairly warm as the week progresses, and then heat looks to build in just in time for the weekend. I'll have the details coming up in just a bit.
Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6.
One program that aims to teach kids about the great outdoors is now at risk as federal government spending still grapples with shortages of funds available. Thanks for joining us for NewsWatch 12 at 6. I'm Haley Gravitt. Rocky Walker shares how funding cuts could be coming to the outdoor school program.
One of the things that brings the state of Oregon together, and I think I'm disappointed with this particular approach, but I also understand where it's coming from.
Conversation in the legislature just hours ago before moving forward with the Legislative Fiscal Office recommendations to cut $12 million, or a fifth of the funding for the outdoor schools program. A program voted for by Oregonians with funding coming from Oregon lottery funds.
I'm questioning what's happening. I mean, this money was earmarked. It was passed by the voters with an overwhelming majority. So why would it be on the chopping block? That doesn't make sense to me.
The program giving all 5th and 6th graders in the state access to a free week-long outdoor education program.
Oh my gosh,
and now
it's
just
so
let
cute.
it go in the water.
We have kids who either very rarely show up for school, or when they do show up for school, they're not engaged whatsoever, but they're like the most engaged and excited and happiest kids when they're at outdoor school.
The legislative committee says the cuts are within the guidelines of the measure for funding, but those in the outdoor schools fear that these students could fall through the cracks with the extreme cuts, and the adults, they fear for their livelihoods.
Oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my job?
A program voted for by the people, leading the nation, with those working on the programs saying they're at risk. Sending letters to the legislature to not follow the proposed budget cuts from the Legislative Fiscal Office, letting them know that they fear its effects on the community.
I fear that requirement for funding will be passed on to families, district schools, and they just don't have it. They will prioritize other things, I'm sure.
While voting to move forward with the proposed budget, they called the maintenance of the program funds an aspiration, not a necessity. In Jackson County, I'm Rocky Walker.
Let's check in with Storm Tracker 12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman for a look at our really nice conditions map. We are also seeing some wind in the area.
Yeah, winds have really picked up, especially for inland areas as we've gone through the afternoon. Take a look, but it's been a windy day throughout the day along the coast. We've had gusts up over 45 miles per hour in Gold Beach, but lots of sunshine, blue skies throughout southern Oregon and northern California. And we may get another opportunity tonight to see the northern lights. This was up at Crater Lake late last night. Beanie sending in this just gorgeous photo. Thanks to everybody who's sent in not only weather photos, but also photos of the northern lights. Again, an opportunity tonight to possibly see the auroras. Current temperatures this hour, it's 80 still in Medford and Montague, 79 degrees in Klamath Falls, 79 in Brookings. That Checo effect definitely in effect along the coast. Those offshore winds funneling down the Checo River Valley as the air descends, it warms, and that's why things are so much warmer in Brookings than what we're seeing further up the coast. Breezes picking up inland out here late today. Sustained winds out of the northwest at 17 miles per hour in Medford. Gusts getting close to 30 miles per hour in Montague. You can see those windier conditions we're experiencing along the coast. It'll stay pretty breezy for coastal communities tonight. For this evening in the Rogue Valley, winds backing off later this evening. Temperatures will be falling through the 70s and the 60s at sunset at 8:43 p.m. Tonight down to 49 in Medford, 42 degrees in Klamath Falls. And then tomorrow, a very similar day to today when it comes to the winds. All the sunshine and then also high temperatures in the afternoon. But there are some changes in our weather ahead, especially late this week into this week, and I'll detail those changes coming up in just a bit. Haley.
Thank you, Matt. On to the fire watch tonight. 2 zones in Klamath County remain under level 1 Be Ready evacuations as the telephone fire near Chiloquin continues to burn. This fire comes as the official start of fire season begins in several parts of our region. Zones KLA 06 F51, and KLA 0681 remain under level 1 Be Ready evacuation warnings. The telephone fire is currently burning at 43 acres, 15 miles northeast of Chiloquin. Several hand crews, engines, and dozers are on scene, slowing the fire's progress and bringing containment to 10% this evening. And South Central Oregon Fire Management Partnership says that fire activity has been driven by strong winds in the area. With dry and windy conditions, fire restrictions are beginning across our region. In Wairika, burning permits with city limits will be suspended beginning June 9th. Prior to the 9th, those with City Hall issued burn permits are asked to burn with caution and follow all burning requirements. That includes calling to ensure it is a burn day and not burning on windy days. With the official start of fire season in Jackson and Josephine counties, here are some of the restrictions that are in place now. Debris burns of any kind are prohibited. No fireworks are allowed on or near ODF protected lands. Campfires are only allowed at designated areas, and smoking while driving is only allowed with the windows up. A closer look at all those restrictions can be found on KDRV.com. Switching over to a money alert. Over $80 million is coming to support the Oregon Department of Transportation in natural disaster recovery. The federal funding helps reimburse 8 ODOT projects between 2017 fires and last year's ice storm. Some of the projects in our region can be seen here on your screens. This includes more than $30 million to repair highways statewide that were damaged in the 2020 fires. It also includes $20 million to repair infrastructure damages from the January 2024 ice storm that caused flooding and landslides in our region. And Brookings is getting its second dental clinic to accept Medicaid and the Oregon Health Plan. Equity Dental is a part of a larger Oregon company. This new clinic in Brookings is being run by an Oregon native, Dr. Pete Lottie. This new clinic means faster and closer access for thousands of patients.
I try to keep as much in-house as we possibly can, trying to be as transparent as possible in getting people in on a timely manner so they're not in pain. And that's actually one of the things that we take really big pride in, is not only seeing people and giving high quality care, but also trying to do it in as timely of a manner as we possibly can.
While he says that he grew up in Lincoln City, he understands the importance of bringing affordable health care to underserved communities. Many patients have had to travel to Northern California or wait months for a seat in the dentist chair. Equity Dental has served over 750 patients in the 8 months it's been open. And the Oregon legislature has now passed a bill that aims to protect patients' access to medications close to home. House Bill 2385B protects a healthcare organization's ability to contract with pharmacies. This improves access to 340B program drugs for patients, especially in rural areas, by preventing drug companies from placing restrictions on who pharmacies can contract with. It received bipartisan support in legislature today and now heads to Governor Tina Kotek's desk. Now, with nice weather in the forecast, more people are sure to be heading outside to explore, but not without any dangers. This weekend, a cougar was spotted on the Greenway in Rogue River. Brinkley Hill shows us what we can do in case we go face to face with any wildlife.
Many are eager to get outside, and that includes many different animals. Bears have been caught on home cameras, a cougar was spotted in Rogue River, and rattlesnakes are out to enjoy the warm weather too.
Especially in the late spring, early summer, when we know rattlesnakes are more active, it's a good idea to travel wearing tall hiking boots in case you do accidentally disturb a snake.
Rattlesnakes are often found in rocky areas along rivers and creeks and in areas with tall grass. Pauline says the best thing to do is make noise as you walk and hike on well-groomed trails.
Especially in the late spring, early summer, when we know rattlesnakes are more active, it's a good idea to travel wearing tall hiking boots in case you do accidentally disturb a snake.
Pauline also says you can use a stick to poke in areas where snakes might be hiding. And to make sure to keep your pet safe, the best thing to do is keep them on a leash.
This time of year is when wildlife become most active, and it's also when people become most active. So you're more likely to encounter or spot wildlife around.
And if you do run into a big animal like a cougar, don't turn your back on them.
They want to chase things that are trying to escape, so slowly backing away but keeping eye contact and trying to look big, being loud can all be helpful.
And some more advice from the professionals. If you see a cougar, you should report it to the Oregon Department of Forestry. That information is on our website, kdrv.com. And as you do enjoy the great outdoors and Hellgate jet boat excursions are reminding you to always wear a life jacket after a boat ride turned into a rescue. The captain on a brunch excursion trip noticed something in the water when it turned out to be a body floating face up. The captain and guests helped bring the swimmer onto the boat. They were able to stabilize the person and paramedics took over further medical evaluation. The boat trip continued after the rescue as planned. And early this morning, a train derailed in Klamath County with 2 of the cars overturning. Take a look. Fire District 1 responding to the call at around 3:30 at Anderson and Altamont Rail Yard. They say that a remove engine and the following 2 diesel tank cars all derailed, but only 2 were overturned. There were minor diesel and hydraulic fluid leaks on the engine, but the 2 tank cars were not breached. While crews are working to handle the situation, Anderson Way will be closed until noon tomorrow. Drivers should find an alternate route. NewsWatch 12's Wake Up and Win contest is back, and there's still 4 chances left to win a Hellgate jet boat river run excursion trip for 2. All you have to do is watch NewsWatch 12 this morning between 6:45 and 7 a.m. next week. Spot the daily code word, then enter it onto our website. 4 more winners will be selected this week, so be sure to set those alarms.